have more materials which will help you to study English. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and press a like button on this video. So let's get started. This is an absolutely amazing book. If you are interested in seeing people around the world and their ordinary but colorful lives, then this book is definitely for you. Its organization is especially clever. It organizes countries from A to Z rather than grouping countries by region, which means that you see a completely different part of the world every time you turn a page. It does something quite special. It exactly captures the mood of places I have been to, which is very unusual in my experience. It is written by travelers for travelers, not for someone doing a geography project. It's really easy to read and still fascinates me. I love reading it, especially when I'm feeling bored of life or when it's raining outside. It's a wonderful source of inspiration as well. After reading it, my list of must-go-to places has tripled. This book deserves to be treasured by anyone interested in traveling the world, seeing its sights and meeting its people. This is nothing more than a coffee table book. It contains some absolutely stunning photos and a quick guide to each country, which is probably all you can expect from a book featuring every country in the world. I browsed through it in a shop and was about to add it to my gift list, but when I went to the entry of my country of birth, Kazakhstan, I was disappointed to see that the main picture, taking over half the page, was taken in Tashkent, which is in Uzbekistan. It's amazing that a travel book can get this kind of information completely wrong. It made me doubt all the other information in the book. This book isn't especially helpful if you want to plan a trip, but it's a really nice book to get a snapshot of a country, or you can just get some inspiration from the photos. They aren't your usual postcard shots, which is refreshing to see. Could social networking sites mean the end of lasting friendships? A generation that is growing up using social networks, websites such as Facebook and MySpace is less likely to form lasting relationships and is more likely to act without thinking, an expert has warned. Many people who were born in 1990 or later have only known a world with the internet, so they could grow up with an unrealistic view of the world and themselves, the annual meeting of the Royal College of Psychiatrists heard. Dr. Himanshu Tyagi, a psychiatrist, said social networking sites have encouraged the idea that friendships and relationships can be formed and ended quickly and easily. He said, "It's a world where everything moves fast and changes all the time, where relationships are ended at the click of a mouse. Online, you can delete your profile and change who you are in a few seconds." He said that because everything happens so quickly on social networking sites, people may start to find the real world boring. He said teenagers who socialize online are more likely to make quick decisions without thinking about the consequences of their actions. They might not pay enough attention to their real world selves and might find it difficult to form relationships in the real world because they won't learn about body language, tone of voice, and facial expressions online. He said that if you can see someone's face or body language or hear the changes in their voice, this will influence your understanding of what's going on. He added that friendship means something very different to the internet generation. But there are also benefits. When you're online, you often don't know the wealth, race, or gender of the person you're communicating with. Dr. Tyagi said, "No one is an outsider on the net. It may not be the best way to make lasting friendships, but it does make everyone equal." Mr. Song and Dance Man. Karaoke is a 10 billion a year industry, but the man who invented it has made almost no money out of it. Inoue Daisuke came up with an idea in 1971. He could have become one of the richest men in Japan, but he didn't patent his idea and doesn't seem worried about the lost opportunity. "I took a car stereo, a coin box, and a small amplifier to make the karaoke," says the 65-year-old in his small office in Osaka. Who would consider patenting something like that? In the early 1970s, Inoue was a drummer in a bar band with 6 colleagues playing in local clubs in Kobe. They played for middle-aged businessmen who wanted to sing traditional Japanese songs. Inoue says, "Out of 108 club musicians in Kobe, I was the worst, and the clients in my club were the worst singers." One day, one of his clients asked Inoue to play for him on an overnight trip. Inoue, unable to leave his job, gave him a tape of the backing music instead. That night, the businessman gave an emotional performance and karaoke was born. Inspired by this success, Inoue made 11 boxes with tapes and amplifiers and began returning them to bars in Kobe in 1971. His plan was to make a bit of money, but he never thought the idea would be so popular. In fact, karaoke was soon picked up by the larger companies, and through the 1980s and 1990s, it swept across Asia, the US, and Europe. Then, in 1991, Time magazine called Inoue one of the 20th century's most influential people, saying he had completely changed nightlife. Nobody was as surprised as me, he says. Inoue himself only used a karaoke machine for the first time to celebrate his 59th birthday. These days, he makes a living selling cockroach repellent for the machines. Cockroaches get inside the machines, build nests, and eat the wires, he says. He's very excited about his next venture. My dream, he says, is to train Japanese pet owners to take better care of their pets. Friends say he is the ideas man, while his wife, who works in the same Osaka office, helps bring the ideas to life. What is intelligence? Not just a high IQ. The theory of multiple intelligences was proposed by Howard Gardner in 1983. He believed that the traditional intelligence test, known as an IQ test, didn't acknowledge the wide variety of abilities that people have. Here is a summary of the main types of intelligence that he identified. Bodily kinesthetic. People who have bodily kinesthetic intelligence learn best by doing something physically. They are good at building and making things. They may enjoy acting or performing and are generally good at physical activities such as sports or dance. Interpersonal. People who have a high interpersonal intelligence learn best by working with others and often enjoy discussion and debate. They are able to cooperate in order to work as part of a group. They communicate effectively and emphasize easily with others. Intrapersonal. Those who are strong in this intelligence are typically introverts and prefer to work alone. They are capable of understanding their own emotions, goals, and motivations and learn best when concentrating on a subject by themselves. Verbal linguistic. People with high verbal linguistic intelligence have a facility with words and languages. They are typically good at reading, writing, telling stories, and memorizing words along with dates. They tend to learn best by reading, taking notes, listening to lectures, and through discussion and debate. Logical mathematical. This area has to do with logic, reasoning, and numbers. People with this ability excel at scientific thinking and investigation and have the ability to perform complex calculations. Traditional concepts of intelligence or IQ reflect ability in this area. Musical. This area has to do with rhythm, music, and hearing. Those who have a high level of musical intelligence are able to sing and play musical instruments. They can also often compose music and may learn best by listening to lectures. Visual spatial. People who have strong visual spatial intelligence are typically very good at visualizing and mentally manipulating objects. They have a good visual memory and are often artistically inclined. They also generally have a good sense of direction and may have good hand-eye coordination. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you for watching.